Hello everyone, this is Dylan, and in this tutorial we'll build this dummy app, and this app is for React Native beginners. And here we'll learn how to build a home screen like this, and you will have buttons like this here, and you can navigate through. Even you can do registration. Well, it's a simple registration though, 1 2 3, and after that it takes you to a new page. This is called account page. For now we don't have any interaction with this, though in future tutorials we'll build them. And at the same time you'll see that we can do registration. So, and the few other things we'll focus in this tutorial: how to create a reusable function components, and we'll use Flatlist and also navigation stack for navigating through the apps. At the same time you'll learn how to use these beautiful icons. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And first thing we'll do, create a home page, and we'll call it home.js, actually, which I already have it here, but within it I have the old code. I'll remove them, I don't need any of this, and I'll import it over here as home, which I already have it, you can see. And we'll create a code snippet using RSF, which stands for React Stateless Function, and it creates a code snippet for you. And the first thing we'll do, we will import this background image, and to do that we'll use ImageBackground component of React Native. Okay, all right. And at the same time we'll import the style sheet object. Make sure that it's imported. It didn't, so we'll import it manually. And at the same time we'll give it style equal styles dot container, and let's go ahead and give it properties. So we'll give it flex1, and right now we need to apply another prop, the source of this background image, using the source prop. And it takes a function called require, and require takes the path of this image. In our case this is assets within assets folder, and I call it background.jpg. Okay, so this image is over here, as you can see, within my assets folder, and the home.js in my animation folder. It could be for you, it could be any folder though, it doesn't matter. Now let's go ahead and save it. So we'll save it over here. Of course this is from the earlier code in home.js, because we didn't save this code yet. So now we'll save it and see the background image. Yes, here we go. But from the picture we see that we have a blurry background, and this is what we'll do right now. So let's go ahead and give call another prop. It's called blur radius. For now we'll play it with 10 pixels, and as you can see it's a bit blurry now. Okay, so the next thing we'd be doing is creating these two buttons, and we'd be creating this button using touchable opacity, because we would be able to press on them and go to another page. So that's why I'll use a touchable opacity, and which gives me more handle on the component or button. Okay, so now let's go ahead and call this component touchable opacity. Make sure it's imported from React Native, and the touchable opacity would take another component. It's called text, because I want to render text within it, and I'll call it login, and let's import it manually, text. Okay, and this touchable opacity, I want to give it some styles and background color, as you can see from here. So let's go ahead and create style object for this. Styles dot say button, and now button will have properties. So first thing, it will have background color, so let's give it background color FC4C65. okay, this is what we want to give it. And at the same time let's see what else we can do. I'm sorry, so this is our simulator. So touchable opacity and text, everything is there, and now we'll save it and see the result, what happens. Okay, so it's right up there, so you wanted to put it down there below here. So to do that we need to change the container, this one, image container, the flex direction, because everything right now into this container. So the default container direction is flex start, which is over here. So we will change it to flex end. So justify content flex end. Here we go. It's down there right now, but it's too narrow and thin. We can't see it. So the few thing we want to do, we want to give it margin bottom, say 20 pixels. So it should be a little up there. Yes, right. And we want to give this container say padding 15. Okay, it looks better. And we can give it border radius, say 20. Okay, perfect. And we want to give this container maximum width, in our case say 95%. Okay, cool. Now we want to center everything within this container, in the center of this container. I mean, this is our view or container, and we want to put everything here. To do that, we can just define justify content center, and sorry, here's a mistake though. Okay, and align item center. Okay, so now the text is centered, but the button itself is not centered. So, or the container itself. To center a container view in the center of something else, we can do self align self center. Okay, now it's centered, as you can see. Okay, now there's a problem with this button. Now the text is too small and black. So let's go ahead and create some style properties for it. So first create style object, styles.text, and we'll define style properties for it. And font, say font size 20, font weight say 600, and font family Avenor, and color say white. Okay, now let's go ahead and save it. So here we go, this is our button. Okay, so what else we want to do right now? Next we want to build this button over here. Okay, right. So well, this padding is, I think, a little too much, so we can go ahead and see 10. Well, I'm happy with 10 or 15, doesn't matter though. Okay, I guess 12 is much better. Okay, now we want to create another button, but we'll have a lot more buttons in our tutorial. So we want to create a reusable component. So let's go ahead and create it so that we can use the same component, same button again and again with just minor changes. So let's go ahead and create a custom component and call it app button, so which I already created earlier. Just create a file here, app button, which I already have it. So, and it has original code, and I'll remove it and build everything from the scratch. Okay, so within the same folder, wherever you are, create a file called appbutton.js. That's all you need to do to create this reusable component. And we'll use RSF, React Stateless function. And one thing we could do, instead of rewriting the whole code again, we can just copy it and put it over here. Okay, and at the same time we can copy the styles for our button, because we already did it, so it'll save some time for us. And I would put it right over here, and make sure that other properties and components are imported. So let's go ahead and copy everything and put it over here, and we don't need this one. Okay, everything else should be good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save it. Of course, we don't see anything or anything new. So right now we don't need at least this one so far. In future I might need this, so let's keep it there, and also remove this one, and at the same time touchable opacity. Let's keep text component, we'll use it. Okay, now it's gone, but we created this button component. All we need to do, just call it over here. So app button, yes, so the first one for our case. Yeah, let's go ahead and save it. All right, so now we want to create another button, so just copy and paste it. But these two buttons, they have kind of same name, which we don't need. We don't want the same name, right? So to do that, every button we want to change the name dynamically, and we can do it by passing props from the component itself. So let's give it prop. So we'll call it name login, and we want them to have different background color, as you can see from the picture. So I'm sorry, so let's go ahead and give it different background color. So this prop name, I'll call it color. The first one FC4C65. Okay, of course it wouldn't take any change yet because we didn't pass the props to this function component. Let's go ahead and catch it in. So the first prop we use is called name, the second one is color, and the name is the name of the button, and we'll render it over here, name. All right, okay, and the button itself should have different background color based on the color passed from here. Okay, so let's go ahead and use this color as a background color. We can use it in our style objects. So because we are using more than one style object, so we should use it within our array. So we have this brasses over here. Now it became an array, now array of style objects, and we want to assign this color, the one passed from the earlier function over here, as the background color. So just go ahead and do it. But of course now nothing changed. Okay, and the other button has gone. So let's go ahead and give it name, and this time the name should be register button, and the color we can assign as 4ECED4. Okay, now let's go ahead and save it. Here we go. So we just created reusable component, which is appbutton.js. It is pretty much the same code that we wrote earlier here, not much change though. And within this, because we are using props, so we can change the button names dynamically based on the prop and given name over here. And actually we can do much more if we have more props. So we'll see them in future tutorials. So we are done with these two buttons. All right, and now next thing we need to do is show this logo and this tagline. So go ahead and do that. So I'll put the logo within a container, and this container actually because right now our flex direction is this one, and flex starts from the end, but we want to put the logo somewhere here, and using our current layout flow it's not possible, so we have to get out of our current layout flow. To do that, we'll use absolute positioning to position it somewhere here, the place where we want. So we want to position it over here, not next to it, because with the current flow, whatever we render, it would start from here and then there and there like this, but we want the logo to be here, so we'll use absolute positioning. So we'll do that with this view. So let's go ahead and create style object for this. So we'll call it styles.logo container. So let's go ahead and create this style object and give it some properties. Logo container. Okay, all right, so what do we want within this logo? We want everything to be centered first, but of course let's go ahead and call this image first for logo, so that we can better understand what happens here. So the image takes a prop called source, and it takes the require function as we know earlier, and assets, and I'll call the image as google.png, which I already have it, and let's go ahead and import it. So it's again within our assets folder, google.png, you can see. All right, again I explained that because right now the current flex direction is n, so everything starts from the bottom and laid out one after on the top of each other. but we want to put the logo here. So go ahead and define the position as absolute. Okay, all right, and top position say 200. Okay, good. Now it's up there. From here to 200 is over here. Okay, great. And now we want to give this container 100% view, 100% width, so that it contains the whole width like this. Okay, but not the image itself, just the container. So give it, go ahead and do it. So we'll do 100%. Okay, the purpose is that once this container takes 100%, we can center this one over here. So because the logo itself is within this container, so now we'll use justify content center and align item center. So this is how we put something inside a container in the center of that container. Okay, so now logo has been centered, and now we need to create a tagline for this, which would be text component, and we'll call it here the tagline, welcome back again. Okay, let's go ahead and save it. But this text is too small and black, so we'll change it, assign it style object within style. I mean, using style properties, we'll call it text, and which we already have it here. So now you say it's bigger but little blacker though, or sorry, little wetter. So we don't want to use this one, the same color. We'll use this color over here for this tagline. So let me find the color tag. Okay, so I believe that is say E14752. Let's see the color. Okay, so pretty much the same color as this one. So right now we are done with this welcome page or home page. Everything is ready, just like the one we saw earlier in our picture over here. Okay, all right. So the next thing we'll do, create a login page with text component and text input field. To do that, the first thing you need to go do is create a file called loginform.js, which I already have it here, and I have the code. I'll delete all of them, so we start from the scratch. Okay, here we go. And at the same time, because we are working page by page or component by component, so for now we want to render login form over here, which I already have it. And now we'll go ahead and create a stateless function to get the code snippet. Okay, so what do you want with this thing? So the first thing, we can go ahead and create a view, and we can save it and save our the app.js file. Okay, currently there is nothing and it's all empty. So the next thing we want to see is this one. Okay, not this one, I guess it should be this one. Okay, so this is the layout we want to create. So the first thing we want to do is show the logo and the tagline, actually, which we already done it over here. So we can just go ahead and copy paste and put it within our container over here. Okay, and we can create a style object, and let's make sure the style sheet has been imported. Style sheet. Okay, now we also want it to occupy the whole screen, so we'll call it styles.container and the container flex1. Okay, now let's go ahead and save it and see the result. And it can't find the image object, so we'll just import it, image and text. Okay, we are good. All right, so well, now it's pretty much to up over there, because we didn't import the style properties for this too, so we'll just go ahead and call them from here. I'm gonna use the copy again, and instead of this one, actually I can pretty much use the whole code. And let's see, here we go, everything is good. All right, this is the same image, logo, and tagline that we used for our home page. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is create text box or box for typing in text, and that's pretty easy. We can do it using TextInput component. TextInput, make sure you import it from React Native. Okay, all right. Well, we will not pass anything as a children, so we'll use self-closing tag. Okay, and for this one, we want to use some props. The first one as we type, so we'll call auto capitalize say false. Okay, and auto correct, I think autocorrect is false. Let's go ahead and check this thing. Yeah, auto capitalize is none, and we'll call the placeholder prop, and we'll give it a name called, say, email. Okay, let's go ahead and save it, and I guess it's somewhere there or here. Okay, I know, instead of doing this the text box is actually up there. Okay, but because we are using absolute positioning, so the logo stays there and everything else starts from the beginning, and we don't want to do that. So let's change it, absolute positioning, and we can do margin top. Here we go. Now the first we render the image with the logo and image itself, and after that we render the text box. As you can see, it's here. Okay, well right now, I'm sorry. Okay, all right, so right now it's too small and it's right next to the screen sidebar, so we need to handle this thing. And another thing we also want to do, we want to show this icon. So let's go ahead and create an icon, and we will use icon from material community icons, which is out of the box in React Native, so you don't need to install it. All you need to do, just go ahead and import it. Material community icons from expo vector icons. Okay, good. Make sure the spelling is correct. And now we'll import the icons and put it here. Material community icons. Okay, good. Okay, now we'll give it so we'll use an icon that name is email, so just write email over here and you should be good to go. All right, so as you can see, it's right there. But now we want to position them like this next to each other, and they're positioned on the top of each other because of the current Flax layout, which is column. So we want to put it next to each other, but just these two. So to do that, we need to put it within a container, view container. I'm sorry, spelling mistake. View. Okay, now put everything within this view, but of course nothing will change yet because we need to change the flex direction. So styles we would say text box. Okay, now let's go ahead and create text box object and give it some properties. Okay, so what property we want for this? We want to change the flex direction to row. Okay, here we go. Now it is working. All right, and at the same time we want to give this box little margin bottom. So margin, this comma is a bit annoying. margin bottom say 10, so whatever we put next to it there would be a space. Okay, good. And now this icon and the box itself is too small, so first thing we want to do, play with this icon and make it bigger. So what we can do, we can create style object for this. So styles dot icon, and go ahead. So we'll call it let's assign the icon and its properties. Okay, all right. Well, before that we want to increase the size of this icon, and which cannot be done using style object. It has to be done in the prop. So there is a prop called size. You can just pass the size you want there and you should be good. Okay, yeah, that's the size. And but right now the email icon, the text box, and the sidebar, they're all too close together, so we can use the property called margin horizontal. Let's assign it as a 10. Okay, now it's much better. Okay, and okay, so now the text box itself over here is too small, so we want to make it bigger. So we can assign style object for this. So go ahead and create it, and we'll call it input text. Okay, all right, so input text. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the font size for this. Font size, so 20. Okay, much bigger now. And what else we need to do? Well, for now font size at 20 is good. Let's see if we type I am here, blah blah blah. Well, it's working. Okay, all right. So what else we want to change? We want to change the color of this icon over here, but this kind of icon and text box, we'll use it a lot in our app. So you create a reusable component. Okay, so to do that, let's go ahead and create a file called app text at or app input text, which I already done using this folder. App text input, actually app text input. You can go ahead and create this file here, and I'll delete all of them. Okay, and start from the scratch. RSF React stateless function, and we don't need any of this. Okay, so just like we create the button reusable component, the idea is same. So we can go ahead and copy everything over here. All right, yeah, so including I guess our text box. So we'll go ahead and copy everything from here and put it here. Let's go ahead and find our style object, and at the same time the other style objects. So we need to copy, let's say, text box, icon, and text input. So pretty much these are the things we need to copy and put within our style objects, our area, this style object thing. Okay, so now let's go ahead and also import this few things, otherwise we'll get error. Okay, we're good. Now let's go ahead and save it, and of course we don't see any change because it is still here, so we can remove it and things are gone. And now we can call this component, which is app text input. So go ahead and do it. So app text input, which I already have it, and we'll create one component here. But now we want to create another component, and just go ahead and copy paste. Now you see two components, but they have the same name and same color and same placeholder. So we can change them using the prop again, which we did for our login form. So all we need to do, pass props from here. So the first thing I will do, I'll pass a name. What's the name of the icon? In this case, again, it should be email, and placeholder, I'll call it text, and placeholder should be capital email. And at the same time, Well, we don't want to change the color though dynamically. We will just set it over here later somewhere. Okay, so this is the thing we want. And now we need to capture this props within our app text component. So let's go ahead and destructure it. So first one is name, second one is, I guess, text, and do we have third one? No, we don't have a third one. We're good. Let's go ahead and save it. Now we need to apply these things over here. So the first one is the name. Name is the name of the icon, and which should be this one. So let's go ahead and save it and call it name and save it. It should work. Yes, it's working. The second one didn't work because the second one doesn't have any prop, which is this one. We'll handle it later. And at the same time, the text should be the placeholder name, which is this one. So assign it text over here. We are good. Now we want to give the color for this text box. It's text itself, and sorry, the icon. So icon got style object called icon. So we can give it color, say color, and we give color 4ECED4. Okay, it changed. So now we created the first text box using our app text input reusable component, and we can go ahead and create another text box the same way. And in this time, the icon name should be lock because we will use it for password, and placeholder name should be password. Okay, here we go. Things are pretty good, looking good right now. And at the same time, we want to create here a button called submit button, but this button component we already created, so we'll go ahead and just apply it. So let's go ahead and call the button component F button. Okay, here we go. And we remember that it takes a few props. The first one is name of the button. We'll call it login, and it will have a background color, or color actually, color prop. And the background color we can assign it as FC4C65. Let's go ahead and save it. Yes, here we go. So everything is looking good, but they are a bit congested. So what we could do, we could put this app text input component within a view and assign it margin. So let's go ahead and do it. View, move it up there within the view. Okay, and assign it style. So say margin bottom 10, margin top 10. Okay, now it looks a bit better, not that congested. But margin top, actually we might do 20. Okay, now it's much better, not that congested. So this is our login form. And well, now there are a few other problems, as you can see. So well, this is CCC or IM, whatever. Okay, now this one over here, password, when you type, it's the same thing, password 123, but password should be hidden using star or points. So we can change it. To do that, we need to supply another prop. It's called secure text entry, and this is only for password field. Okay, now go ahead and save it. Nothing happens because this prop hasn't been captured here. So we can capture other props, the rest of the props, whatever they are, a lot more, many together in other props. Well, the name could be random because we want to put every other prop, whatever happens after this text and name, whatever comes, we want to use them or capture them using just one object. In that case, you have to use the spread operator. Okay, and then you can use it wherever you want to use as a prop. Okay, but this is a bit special, so you have to use it using other props within this curly braces. Okay, let's go ahead and save it. Okay, now let's see, secure text entry, so it should be true, not false. Okay, as you say, it changed immediately. Oops. Okay, we are good. So for now we are done with this login screen, but we are not going to do validation. That would be in another tutorial. Next we'll create a form for registration. Okay, the idea would be same in this case, and we'll pretty much copy everything from here. Let's go ahead and delete this. We don't need this. We also don't need this. Okay, so the idea is same. It will have just one more field that's called a username. So we'll go ahead and copy everything and create a new file. The file name should be register form. If you don't have, I think definitely you don't have, go ahead and create one, just like new file register.js, which I already have it. And over here I'll delete everything, and just now I copied this code and put it down over here. Now let's go ahead and save it. Of course we don't see anything because we are still working with the login form, so we'll call our registration form, which I already have it from animations folder. Okay, go ahead and save it. Now this is the login form, which exactly looks like our, this is the registration form, which exactly looks like our login form, but we want to create one more field over here that would be username. So it's pretty easy because we have done all the work for now, and all we need to do, copy paste this one and put it here. So we are using our reusable function component. Let's save it. Well, but now it shouldn't be, the icon name shouldn't be email. Icon name say account. Yes, so it's avatar, and the placeholder should say name. Okay, now it's good. And instead of using the name login, we need to change the name over here. We can say register. Okay, yes, so that's the beauty of using reusable components. You see, app text input component and app button, it saved a lot of time. We didn't need to rewrite everything. Okay, so the next thing, we are done with creating home page, login page, and registration page. Next thing, we'll go ahead and create this page, which should be this one, this beautiful account screen, things like that. Okay, well, now to do that, let's go ahead and create a file called account.js in your folder, wherever you are, and I already have it. So I'll go ahead and delete everything from here and start writing everything from the scratch. Okay, so let's call our React stateless function, and it will create a code snippet for us. And the first thing, we want to return a view. Okay, it's imported, and at the same time we want to call our style object. It's not imported. Style shit. Okay, now name it styles.container. Okay, container. Okay, flex1. Okay, let's go ahead and save it. Nothing will happen, and call our container class or function component, account class, which I already have it. We did it early, and if you don't have, just go ahead and import it manually. And this is our file. Okay, let's go ahead and say it over here. Of course it's not visible yet. Okay, so we'll render this kind of information, which will have an icon, background color, and related basic information. Okay, all right, so first we have to save them in an array. In real life, in real world, this data would be coming from your database, from a server, and first within your React Native app, you have to save it in an array and then display them in a loop. In our case, we will use it Flatlist as a loop. It's more like for each loop. I mean, if you know what is for each loop, so it loop through and will display it. So let's go ahead and create this array list. We'll define a variable called myList, and now we'll create a couple of objects here. The first one we'll call title and say Dylan Ahmed. Okay, and later on we will want to create this icon and the background color, so we'll save them somewhere here. Okay, so name should be the icon name. The first one we'll call it account, and background color, so give it a background color. So background color, what background color we can assign it? Say first 49B7 A6. Okay, this is the background color. Okay, and let's go ahead and save it, and just copy paste a few times. Okay, the second one we can call it, say, contact, and the contact should be an email icon, and we can use a different background color for this, say F4B743. okay, and this one should be something like, say, different one, so call it messages, and the name should be format list bulleted, and the color assign it as say E14752. The last one we'll call it log out, and the but icon should be log out as well. The background color stays the same, so we have 4 different background colors, or actually 3 though, and we wouldn't change them. All right, okay, so now let's save it. Of course nothing would happen because we didn't render, so we want to render them using Flatlist component. Flatlist, import from React Native, make sure you import it from there, and okay, use self-closing syntax because we are not passing anything as children. Okay, so the first thing, we want to grab this array and save it somewhere. So it goes with the prop called data, and just call it my list. We are good. Okay, now another one, it takes the key or the unique ID, and it takes it loops through each of them and find the unique ID. So to loop through, we can give it a name. Any name is okay. We'll call it item, and item can access any of them. So the first time it loops through, it accesses the first object. So now item has access to this object and the sub object. So the first sub object is a title. Okay, all right, so title is a string, and we don't need to convert it to string. Let's go ahead and save it. Okay, we are good. And the last one is actually to render the data, which is called render item prop. And again, it takes an object, and this object we can destructure and take the first one, that's called item, and we can pass this object to render our view. So we'll call a view directly here, and render everything within this view. Okay, so let's go ahead and render some information to see what's actually happening. So again, item access any object, first time loops to access the first one and the sub object. So item, and the first sub object is a title, and it should be rendered within our text component because it's a text. Okay, so let's go ahead and move it up within text component. Make sure the text component has been imported. We are good. All right, okay, so now let's go ahead and save it. Definitely we see this one. Okay, all right, and we want to use a margin top, say margin top 100. Okay, now it looks better, or 70 should be perfect. Okay, good. Well, at the same time, we also want to render this icon and their background color. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So first we want to render the icon just like this one. So let's go ahead and do it. So we already know that we can render icon using material community icons object that's in out of the box, that comes out of the box in React Native. So we'll just go ahead and call it, copy from here. Okay, now call the component for this one, material community icon. Okay, good. All right, so the first thing we can render the name and the icon itself. So the name is within this icon object. So first item, this object, as we are looping through, then we find the sub object that's called icon, and icon has another object, it's called name, and name is actually the name of the icon. So go ahead and save it. Okay, here we go, we see the icon. But now, just like earlier, app text input or form registration, we want to put material icon and text in one line, just like this one, next to each other. So we need to change the flex direction. To do that, we'll call it within a view. Okay, so let's go ahead and move it up within the view. Okay, good. And let's prettify it. Okay, we're good. All right, and now we need to create a style object for it. So go ahead and create it. Styles dot, we can say icon container. So this is icon container, and assign its style properties. Okay, so what do you want with them? The first thing we want right now is to put next to each other. So we need to change the flex direction. So flex direction is row. Yes, we're pretty good now. And what else we want with them? We want to give it, I guess, some margin and padding. So let's go ahead and create margin for it. So margin bottom, say 20, so they are not that congested. All right, and now we need to assign style to our icons, and let's go ahead and create style object for the style.icon. Okay, all right, so icon is here. All right, okay, but we need to change the size, and icon size change happens through size prop. So we'll call it 25. Okay, use 25. All right, now icon container, we want to put everything with this container in the center, but vertically centered. So right now you see the name and icon, they are not very centered. So we can go ahead and call align items, because we use align items to put something in the vertically center or according to the second axis. So in our case, secondary axis is this horizontal axis and primary axis is this vertical axis, and you center things on horizontal axis or secondary axis, actually secondary axis, using align items center. Okay, now everything is centered pretty much. Now we also want to create a background color for this one. Okay, and background color for this icon. Okay, so to do that, actually we can assign first say background color, right? So background color over here. Let's see how we do that. Okay, the few other thing actually we want to do, icon. So icon and the text itself, they're very close. So we can change it, change the distance, horizontal, margin horizontal, say 10. And now they're pretty good. Okay, all right. So now let's go ahead and change the background of this whole container, which is right now white. We can set it to gray color. Okay, now it's gray color. Okay, now we want the container itself should be white color. The container, this one, the container for the name or the text and the icon. So let's go ahead and change the color. I'm sorry. Okay, we are good. And now it looks too thin and not very beautiful, so let's go ahead and assign padding to it. So say padding top, so 10. Okay, padding bottom, so 10. Okay, we are good. All right. Okay, now we just want to target this material community icon, this one, but this is an icon itself. We can't change the background. To do it, we need to put this within another view. So let's go ahead and create this view. I'm sorry, it's not working the way I expected. Okay, now move this one within this view. All right. Okay, let's prettify it. Okay, good. All right, so now we can assign some styles to it so that our icon has a different background. So go ahead and do it, styles. So we say icon background. So we can call it over here icon background. Okay. All right, of course we can change the background color, hopefully from here. Say red, so it's all red. It's a bit ugly, but we'll change it there. And the icon itself, let's say, is it centered? No, it's not centered. So let's see, center it, justify icon center, but that shouldn't take effect. We can do align items, center. Okay, well, looks like none of them are working. Actually they are working though, it's not that obvious. Okay, but we don't need justify content. Okay, all right, now we want to give it border radius. Border radius 20. I think we have an error. Border radius, oh, it should not be a string, it should be a number. Okay, now it's a bit ugly, so we can assign it width and height. So width 50 and height 50. Okay, all right, and now center it like this. Okay, all right. So, well, the border radius, if we do 25, I think that'll look better. Okay, cool. Okay, now another problem is this, that it's the same color, so we don't want to hard code it. We want to get the background color, the one we saved here. So all we need to do, assign the color here, and which we have to do within an array because we have too many style objects. So background color item dot icon dot background color. Okay, cool. Now we have different background color and it really looks pretty cool. And at the same time, we want to have a space between this icon and the name. We can do it easily. So this is our container for icon itself, so which is called icon background, and we can provide horizontal space for this, or horizontal margin though. It's called 10. Okay, now it's much better. Okay, cool. And now the text itself is too small, so go ahead and create style object for this, which is a text, and we have done it so many times. We can just go ahead and copy it and put it somewhere here. Okay, now you see they all have this weird red color. We don't want them. Actually, we want to use the default color. Okay, we're pretty good now. All right, or we can go with, say, little gray. which is EEE. Well, it's too much of the gray. F1, 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 F1. Wow, it looks like the gray color I'm using is too light, so anyway, I'll go with the default color, whatever it is. Okay, it still looks great. And actually we want to change this color, so instead of this, I think we can do FC4C65. okay, great. Now we are done with the login page, registration page, and home page, and the account page. So now it's time to put everything together. All right, and to do that we need to use navigation stack. And if you are not familiar, you can go ahead and hop over to this website. It's reactnavigation.org, and then they have docs. This docs tell you how to use it. To use their navigation stack, you need to install some of the libraries. The first one you should install is this one. So it's pretty easy, just go ahead and install it. I have done it. And the next one, if you are using Expo, you should use this one. Go ahead, copy paste and run it. And once you are done with this one, you need to come over here and you need to install the last one in our case, which is navigation stack. The earlier one was navigation native. So this too actually downloads the core component for navigation, and this one just downloads the navigation, stack navigation, not the bottom one, not the drawer ones. This is for actually navigation using buttons or other on-press events. So again, this is not for bottom, this is for different buttons. Like if we want to press on them and go to somewhere else and redirect. Anyway, so just go ahead and install them. First install those two and then install this one, and you should be good to go. And I think we should copy some of this code from here that we can use later. And after that, once you are done, you need to go ahead and create a file over here, and you can call it authnavigation.js. Just go ahead and create a file like this and name it authnavigation.js, which I already have it. And I'll delete all of it from here and start from the scratch, so we better understand that how it works. Okay, so now we'll call the statelist function, which is this one, and we'll import these things that we need to, but we copied it from there. And the few things we need to do, the first thing we need to create, that is an object, and this object is created using this function called create stack navigator, and it's imported from stack library. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do it. So let's call it const, we can call it stack, and call the create stack navigator. All right, okay, so this one returns two objects. Okay, the first one is called navigator, and second one is this screen object. So screen object is used for holding the components we have created, like home, login form, registration form, and account form. And navigator is the wrapper for this components or screens. Again, it creates two objects. One is navigator and another is screen. So screen objects holds our components or our file, if you can understand like this, and then screen is held into this navigator object. Okay, so let's go ahead and create stack dot navigator component and return. And after that, we need to create screen component. Go ahead and do it. Stack dot screen. Okay, yeah, that's what I told you, that it has two objects. One is navigator and screen sits within navigator. All right, so now we'll go ahead and create our screens, and pretty much all the work we have done. All we need to do we need to do is define the route and the name of the screen or the component. So name of the route for the first one, we'll call it home, and the component will use the component home component, which is in home animations dot slash home, like this one. This is eventually this file or this component. All right, so all we did here, we defined a route. It's like within the app, how do you find it, using what name? So we'll call it home, and this one takes a component or function component. This is called home or home page, home.js. So that's what screen does. Screen is like you need to show something on the screen. That's this object does. And what to show? A file, and find the file, and we call it as home. That's all. You can call it actually any name. So let's go ahead and save it, and not save it, copy it a few more times. The next one, next component we want to show is a login form. The next one, say call it register form. I guess register form. I'm not sure why I didn't import it. And the last one is account. Okay, so let's go ahead and import our registration form component. Register form from current folder, and register form, this one. Okay, and of course you should have different phone screen or components. The router name should be different and they have to be unique. So the login form, I'll call the router as login. Register form, I'll call it register, and the last one I'll call it account. Okay, and another thing you see we have imported, it's called navigation container. Navigation container holds all the screen and navigate object. So let's go ahead and call it and put everything between this navigation container component. Okay, we are good to go. All right. Okay, so here a few things we have done. We used the create stack navigator function and created two objects, and one is navigator, which holds different screens, and this navigator also tells you that this is navigator using buttons or on press things like that, and this one is the holder of whatever kind of navigation you do, because there could be actually there are three kind of navigation or navigator object. You can find it from here to understand it more, because this tutorial has been too long. I don't want to explain too much, so just go ahead and do it, and if you don't understand, just read the docs. It's pretty clear. All right, so let's go ahead and find our code. It's here. All right, okay, so now this is our auth navigation. Okay, now auth navigation or your navigation, it should be used in the core component of your app. So our app.js file is the core file, and from here we'll call the auth navigation. All right, which I already imported earlier. So let's go ahead and save it, and boom, here we go. All right, but of course it doesn't work on press because we need to do a few more work. Okay, so auth navigation shows the default one, this one, the login form, or sorry, the home page, which is this one. But if we change the order, you see, all right, we change the order here. I'm sorry. Okay, now let's go ahead and reload it. Yeah, so now home screen is the login form. So you can change the order whatever you way you want, and it would work. Anyway, so let's go ahead and put back the order and reload it. It should work. Okay, we are good. All right, so right now the first thing we want to do to be able to press on them and navigate to different part of this app. Okay, all right, so to do that we need to be able to handle on press event for this button. Okay, where is this button? This button is within our home component or home.js file, and we'll pass onPress event, and it takes a function. All right. Okay, now one thing you have to know that once you put everything using a navigator, hold everything using a navigator within navigation component, so this component here, they get default props in their function. So like this is the home component, and the file for this is this one, and it gets some default props. So the prop name, we can destructure it. Actually, there are a few props. The first one is navigation, the second one is route. In our case, we'll use navigation prop. Okay, after destructuring it, we get this navigation. All right, now once we get it, we can use it here. So navigation, and it has another object, it called navigate, and this navigate tells you where to go once user click on this button. Okay, so again, once again, here this component, because it's within Stack Navigator and navigation container, so this component over here, it gets a prop, we call it navigation, and use this navigation to get another object called navigate, and you can tell this navigate object where to go if someone press on this button. So let's go ahead and save it and see what happens. Of course, nothing happens because we passed this onPress event, but we didn't catch it. So we need to catch it over here, over our, sorry, prop here. Okay, is it this one? The, sorry, so this is coming from app button, so we have to find our app button. So let's go ahead and find app button. Okay, so over here. So now let's catch this onPress event and just pass it. So onPress, because touchable opacity itself takes an onPress event, which is this one, and we are passing this one from our earlier file and use it over here. Let's go ahead and save it. Okay, yes, it's working now. So do the same for our register screen. So just go ahead and use it on press navigation.navigate. Now once user click on it, we should go to register form. Register. Okay, do remember that this name and the route name has to be the exact same, otherwise you'll get an error. It wouldn't work anyway. Okay, so now click on this. Here we go. This is our register button, right? Okay. All right, now the few things happened, you see, once we go there, it's the color is a bit different. This was not the original color, which was in our case white, but because we are using Stack Navigation and Navigator, it changed the color. But we can use whatever color we want after changing some settings. We can do it here. So first we need to import a file or an object. Import is called default theme, and it comes from at React, I guess native. Let me see, native. I guess it should be native though. Yeah, so this one. Okay, so there is an object is called default theme, and using this object we can change the theme of our navigation, or the screen theme actually, or the screen color. Okay, and navigation container itself has a prop called a theme, so we can go ahead and change it over here. And it has many objects, this one default theme, and we can get all of them using spread operator default theme. Okay, and then we can access the colors object of this default theme. Okay, so the first we want to get all the colors dot colors, and then background color we can change right now as white. Okay, as you see, it changed it. All right, so again, you can read understand more in their official website once you have time. Okay, now let's go ahead and see. So another thing happened, most probably because we are using navigation container, it came down too much. We don't want, so because it already created a top bar for us, so let's go ahead and remove it. The one default one we had over here, actually 200. Let's go ahead and do it at 100. Now it looks better. The same for registration screen. Okay, let's go ahead and check our registration screen. Here we go. All right, and right now we also don't want this one. It's easy to change. This is our home screen, our home component. So for this screen, which is this one, we can use some props. This props could be found in options. This property actually could be found in options prop, and there is a property called header shown. We can use it as false. Okay, let's go ahead and save it. So this header is gone, but just for this screen or this component, it doesn't affect the others. All right, okay. Now we also want to log in, and then we want to go to somewhere to do that, but right now it's not working. It doesn't take us anywhere. By the way, we didn't do the validation. That should be another tutorial. Right now all we want is just to go ahead and type in something and log into a place. All right, so this should happen from login component or login screen, which is this one, and we have a button here. So just like the earlier home component, it has a prop called navigation, and for this one we have the same thing, so we'll call it navigation. All right, and pass it using onPress event. Okay, navigation dot navigate. Not good at spelling though. Okay, and once someone click on this, where we want to go, we want to go to our account screen. All right, let's go ahead and check it. Yes, here we are, account screen. But now, because I said earlier, because we are using navigation stack Navigator, which has default top bar, and we also used our own top bar like margin top, so we can remove it, otherwise it looks a bit weird. So this is within our account screen. This is this one. So let's go ahead and remove it. I think it's somewhere here, this one. No, it looks beautiful. Okay, so with this, actually we were done with the app, the dummy app, wherever you go. All right, so it's from here. So let's go ahead and check it again, and 1 2 3, cool. So everything's working perfectly. So I'll be done with this tutorial, and if you liked it, don't forget to smash this like button and share it with your friends. And another thing, you let me know how you want to go from here. Do you want me to create another tutorial to work on these menus, or create a bottom navigator, or we should do the validation? So just let me know how you want to go ahead from here. Okay, and thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.